Hi guys, so I did a research proposal on the perceived cost of eating a plant-based diet, and cost is within the framework of the expectancy value theory. Today is Earth Day, so it's a perfect time to talk about my topic because what we are eating and our diet has important environmental and health implications. So let's first talk about the environment. Researchers have found that food production equates to 30% of total greenhouse gas emissions, while animal products account for 75% of these effects. The report indicated that eating a plant-based diet led to the greatest reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Turning to the health side of what we're putting into our body. According to research, 3 out of 4 Americans failed to eat a serving of fruit. 90% failed to meet the recommended daily intake of vegetables. But Americans are exceeding the recommendations for protein and grains. This ties into the obesity epidemic specifically occurring in America. The Centers for Disease and Control reported that nearly 40% of adult Americans and 19% of children identify as obese. My research proposal relates to motivation theories because I want to understand why individuals fail to adopt a certain diet and why others do. Much of this can be explained through cost. What is motivating individuals to eat plant-based? What is motivating individuals to eat meat? What is not motivating to either group? Individuals will employ a cost-benefit ratio, and when an activity or task overwhelmingly costs more, the individual is unlikely to engage with the task. Additionally, I felt that this was interesting to examine because cost is considered the forgotten component of the expectancy value theory. So it's not really studied that much, and it would be a great addition to the research. Okay, so here's some key terms I used within my research proposal. I chose the expectancy value theory to guide my framework. The expectancy value theory accounts for individual values and expectancies on performance, choice, persistence, and engagement. I chose one specific component of the theory to really hone in, and that was cost. So according to Eccles, cost is defined as what an individual has to give up to do a task, as well as the anticipated effort one will need to put into task completion. So unknowingly and perhaps knowingly, individuals will employ a cost-benefit ratio all the time. And so this is when an activity overwhelmingly costs more, and if it costs too much, we're unlikely to do the activity or the task. But if it doesn't cost much and it seems like there's great benefit to it, we're likely to do the activity. So there's various types of cost. There's effort cost, emotional and psychological cost, opportunity cost, economic cost, and social cost, and others. So within the proposal, I talk about 2 distinct types of diets, plant-based and meat eaters. So for the sake of this, I kept it quite vague, but plant-based is vegan vegetarianism, and then a few studies also include pescatarianism, which is eating fish. And of course, I don't know if you guys all know this, but I'm just going to define it for you. Veganism is absolutely no animal products whatsoever, and vegetarians will occasionally have some dairy and maybe some eggs. And meat eaters are any other diets, and most likely, of course, people who eat meat. Okay, so the questions guiding my research proposal were 3 main questions, and they're all entangled with one another. So the big overarching question was, what costs and benefits do individuals assign to specific diets? And the second question, what costs prevent meat eaters from adopting a plant-based diet? Third, what benefits lead individuals to adopt a plant-based diet? So really just looking at this cost-benefit ratio across the board for various different diets. Okay, so since I did a research proposal, I don't have raw results to show you, but let's look at what the literature says. So research states that individuals who adopted a plant-based diet identified a great cost when eating animal products. So when they did eat animal products, they felt great emotional and psychological costs. So it was almost unbearable. They felt really bad ethically, morally, and whatnot. Additionally, they reported that they just didn't really like the taste of eating meat. Next, they found great benefits of adopting a plant-based diet. They reported group membership, a sense of belonging, a shared identity with other members who ate the same way. They believed that the food tasted better, and they also found that being plant-based was a part of their identity. Okay, so this is a really interesting study. So it's looking at former meat limiters. So they were once plant-based, but now they eat meat. So when they were plant-based, they were asking, why was it difficult? What were the costs for you? And these individuals stated that they lacked social support. So their friends and family members, they didn't eat this way and they didn't support them for eating this way. There was a stigma associated with the way they ate. They felt that the food was boring, it was a difficult time preparing the food, lack of food choice, and they craved meat. Additionally, they did not identify as being plant-based. It wasn't a part of their identity. So when they switched to being more of a meat eater, they found that the food was more appetizing. It was less effort to prepare their food. It was a lower economic cost, and of course, a lower social cost for them. Okay, there were many connections to the content we discussed in class. First, I got the opportunity to look at the forgotten component of the expectancy value theory, which they identify as cost. So I examined the cost-benefit ratio. So whatever is more costly, we're unlikely to do. We want to engage with tasks, activities that give us the greatest benefit. Next, the literature tells us that individuals who feel that their diet is part of their identity and self are more likely to stick with the diet and adhere to their eating habits for long term. Additionally, sense of belonging, social support was key if someone was going to remain with a diet or not. Individuals who ate plant-based often had other friends and family members who were also eating plant-based and who supported them, while former meat limiters lacked that support. My research proposal planned to examine college students. This could be difficult with the lack of time, money, social stigma, and accessibility that they have to plant-based foods, which plays a huge role into diet adoption and adherence. Some individuals do not have the means to eat a given way, which is a social justice issue in itself. Was my question answered? Perhaps, but I do believe more research is needed. It's evident from the literature that social support is needed for diet adoption. Next, individuals need to like the food. If they do not like fruits and vegetables, it's going to be really hard for them to transition into a plant-based diet. Additionally, they need to feel a sense of identity, call to action, and ethical and moral responsibility to adhere to this diet for long term. The benefits must outweigh the cost. In the future, I would like to actually complete the study and incorporate individuals past college age because I do feel that there are too many hurdles and limits when examining college-age students. I would like to know more about why social support is lacking, why individuals dislike certain foods, and how we can abolish these preconceived notions.